Hello, my friends. Just yesterday, Trump sent a letter to Zelenskyy urging him to prepare for the end of the war. Following this, Trump made a very intriguing statement.
Including foreign policy, these crazy wars that we're in. One of the things I want to do, and quickly, and President Putin said that he wants to meet with me as soon as possible. So we have to wait for this, but we have to end that war. That war is a horrible. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Millions of soldiers have died now. Millions. We're seeing numbers that are just crazy. Got to stop it. It's ridiculous. Would have never happened if I was president. That war would have never happened.
Overall, we await the decisions that will follow. What do you think about this statement? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Meanwhile, troubling news continues to emerge from the front lines. Let's start with the Pokrovsk direction. Russian forces have broken through to Pokrovsk. While their previous advances were limited to the road areas, they now control all the fields near Zelenivka and are effectively on the outskirts of the city. They intensify shelling on Pokrovsk to prepare for further assaults. Fighting continues also for Novoandriivka and assaults are underway in Zelene, Dachinske, Lysivka and near Mernograd. As before, fierce battles rage for the villages of Promeny and Mirolyubivka. The overall situation remains extremely challenging, and despite counterattacks and some successes by the Ukrainian forces, Russian advances haven't been halted. By nightfall, Ukrainian soldiers reported further Russian gains. Fighting has begun for Novoandriivka and Vovkove with partial successes by the Russians. In the Solona area, Russians have also advanced, posing a serious threat to the settlement of Odradne, which is critically important for the entire right bank of Pokrovsk. Fighting continues for Pyatykhatky, and while the Russians are struggling there, I can't say it's easy for our troops either. It's a real meat grinder, no other way to describe it. North of Dachinske, the Russians advanced 500 meters toward Novoandriivka. The areas around Novoandriivka and Petropavlivka remain very difficult. Our troops understand that there is little room for further retreat. Losing Petropavlivka, for example, could allow the Russians to quickly close the Kurakhove pocket. The situation in Pyatykhatky is similar, very difficult. The Russians are far from having an easy time, but neither are our soldiers. Overall, it seems we can expect further unfavorable changes along the front lines in the coming days as halting Russian advances remains a significant challenge. In the Kurakhove direction, Russian forces are assaulting Dvorichna and Kurakhove, advancing across the fields from Konstantinopolsk. They are also attacking Rozliv and have begun amassing reserves to push further across the highway and storm the villages of Bahatyr, Konstantinopol, and Ulakli, which they approached almost directly in recent days. In the direction of Velyka Novosilka, Russian forces continue to advance. They have managed to move closer to the village of Odradne and are now conducting assaults. Fighting also persists near Blagodatne, with assaults on Novosilka continuing alongside Havashalan. The situation in this area remains extremely difficult. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, Russian forces are assaulting Novoandriivka and Pyatykhatky. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces have advanced near Kamianske. The goals of this operation remain unclear for now. It's possible the Ukrainian forces are planning to advance toward the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, signaling a new counteroffensive. However, no updates on new offensive actions by the Ukrainian forces have been reported today, so we wait. In the Kherson direction, Russian forces continue the active attempts to push onto the islands near Hola Prystan. Attacks and shelling are also reported near Antonivka. Russian troops are attempting to cross to the right bank, but after the recent advances, there have been no new successes over the past 24 hours. The front line has remained unchanged, but their intentions to capture Kherson are evident through intensified shelling in this area. Now let's move on to the Toretsk direction. Here, Russian forces continue the offensive operations within the city. They achieve occasional gains, keeping the situation tense. Shelling persists and clashes are ongoing near Druzhba. However, there have been no changes along the front line in the past 24 hours. In the Chasiv Yar direction, Russian forces are assaulting Stupochki and conducting heavy shelling. The situation is difficult, but the overall activity of Russian troops remains moderate for now, with no changes to the front line. In the Siversk direction, Russian forces are assaulting Bilohorivka, attempting breakthroughs near Kamianske, and shelling Siversk and other frontline settlements. However, there have been no new advances and the situation remains unchanged. In the Lyman direction, Russian troops have slightly increased their activity, launching assaults on Ivanivka and Terne alongside Havashalan. Despite this, they have been unable to make progress as Ukrainian forces successfully hold the defense. In the Dvorichna direction, Russian forces are assaulting Zaporizhzhia and Zeleny High. It has been announced that Lozova is now under their control, but the Ukrainian side hasn't yet confirmed this information, meaning no changes to the front line can be verified. Further south, battles continue for Kharkivka, but Russian forces have made no progress there. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian troops are attacking Petropavlivka, but overall activity remains slow and the front line is unchanged. In the Kharkiv direction, Russian forces have unexpectedly achieved gains. They have significantly expanded their control in the area near the village of Kozacha Lopan, advancing closer to the settlements of Alisivka and Vysoka Yaruha. Fighting continues in these areas as Russian forces attempt to extend their control. Meanwhile, in Vovchansk, battles are ongoing, but the situation remains unchanged. In the Kursk direction, Russian forces persist with their counteroffensive. However, the front line remains stable as Ukrainian forces continue to hold their ground and inflict losses on Russian troops along with Korean fighters. There are new photo confirmations of eliminated Korean soldiers, though the images are too graphic to share. Additionally, documents verify that Korean forces are actively participating in the conflict and engaging in assaults. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.